break.
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Miller Lite with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Well, it's rookie minicamp week here in the first week of May at Hallis Hall as the whirlwind continues for the college stars now ready to embark on the next phase of their football journey. Welcome to episode 143 of the Bears Etc. podcast, and we're brought to you by Miller Lite. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Very special guest on this week's pod. We're going to talk to a rabid Bears fan. I mean rabid. This is not your dime store variety supporter of the blue and orange. No. This is superstar level, and if we were scouting in the NFL vernacular, he'd be a blue, Tom. He'd be a blue talent. WWE superstar, the one and only Seth Rollins. Thank you for joining us, my friend. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great after that intro.
Well deserved.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, look, you can't, at this point, this stage, if you're a Bears fan, I think we're all blue prospects. You know what I mean? Everyone stuck around at this point. So, yeah, I appreciate that, though, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm excited to talk football with you.
And before we go any further, you have so many nicknames and whatnot. I prefer the Seth freaking Rollins. Is that okay? We go with that today?
That's a great one. That's a great one. It feels good. It rolls off the tongue real nice.
Yeah, it does. Tommy, you can go ahead now.
Seth, so walking onto that stage in Green Bay when you went to announce the draft choice, and in your business, you have to appreciate the boos as much as you do the cheers. So how did it feel when you walked out into Lambeau Field? Because I've walked out there plenty of times and got the acceptance of the boos and the appreciation of the boos. But how was it for you getting ready to call that draft choice?
It was a beautiful moment in time, man. It was a beautiful moment in time. I was so excited to be able to do that for the Bears. It was truly an honor to be able to read a pick off at any draft, let alone being in Green Bay for the first time. So that was a really special thing for me. And I loved it. I loved leaning into the boos. I wish they were louder. I was hoping they were gonna, boo me off the stage, but it was a really awesome experience. Look, the fans in Green Bay, they get it. They understand. They know the assignment. And so it was great. And I got a little leeway to cook them with a couple of lines.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the commissioner was he was thrilled that I was there. So it was nice to be able to get a little permission to take some time and do what I had to do to the fine folks of Green Bay.
Seth, how did that all come about?
You know what? My manager just got it set up. I mean, obviously, we've been doing a lot of work with the franchise and the NFL over the past year. And I think we saw that the draft was in Green Bay. And, he reached out and said, I'd be interested. And the team said, well, let's make it happen. Let's see what we can do for day 2 or day 3. So I was, I think, just suffering through many, many seasons of Bears football got me to where I am today, so I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, it was all him and the NFL for being so gracious and allowing me to take that spot.
Seth, I was kind of thinking about you have one of the most unique jobs in all the world. You're a multi-time world champ and you kind of taunt crowds. Do you get taunted like when you're out in the general public? Because you're an easy guy to recognize, dude. You're not, people know who you are when you walk down the street. Whether they say, hey, throw me off the turnbuckle, drop me off the top rope, whatever it is out in the general public. Are you talked to and taunted a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, taunting, not so much. I think when you see me in public, I think it's more people just get excited. You do get requests for strange things like headlocks or arm ringers or, my finisher is a stomp to the back of the head. People want to see how that feels. I wouldn't advise it. But for the most part, I think, and wrestling fans are a wild bunch, but I think everybody is mostly just excited to catch a glimpse. You know what I mean? To see you on the street. And look, I'm not going to pretend I'm John Cena or The Rock or anything like that. Like I can still go do regular things for the most part. But if I'm in a grocery store, like somebody's going to ask for a picture. So, but everybody's pretty cool. You don't really get too many crazies, at least not in person anyway.
For those of us that are sports fans and we're outside the ring, we kind of watch you guys and try to anticipate what the next move could possibly be. When you're on the sidelines of a football game, do you have that same anticipation we as fans of wrestling have, and the football fan in you?
Oh, absolutely. I am an armchair quarterback through and through. I'm looking at the down and distance. I'm looking at where we're at in the game, and I'm wondering what the coach is going to dial up. I'm curious to see what the play call is going to be. Are they going to try to get a few yards on the ground? They're going to drop a screen. Is this time to take a deep shot? It's second and short. We're in midfield. Let's see what we can do. I'm all about that. So I think that's part of the fun of being a sports fan, is playing armchair quarterback, and I would have done this if only they had done this. Truth is, I know no better than anybody else, obviously, but it is certainly a good way to watch a football game. Can be a little frustrating at times, though.
Let's burn it down and bear down Chicago. His final words in Lambeau Field as he introduced the Bears draft pick, the 5-time world champion on WWE. It is Seth Rollins. This podcast is brought to you by the official beer partner of your Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller Time, Chicago. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. I noticed on January 20th of 2025, you posted on your X account at WWE Rollins, for those interested in following, and you got a ton of followers, my man. I love football. That's all you said, in quotes. So I ask you why.
I mean, if you look at the timeline, that was one of my last, I don't even know if you call them tweets anymore. One of my last posts says I'm gracefully exiting the X app for my own personal reasons.
I see.
But I will say, if you look at the timeline, that one was pretty sweet. I think the Ben Johnson hire is something that we should all be excited about as Bears fans. For the first time in as long as I can remember, we've got the belle of the ball. We've got the coach who I think everyone was sought after, and I think is really going to be able to make a difference in this franchise and hopefully turn into a winning franchise again, which is great for Chicago, great for Bears fans, but it's also great, in my opinion, for the NFL. So I feel awesome about the Ben Johnson hire. I made that very clear on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And that is why Ben Johnson got an I love football tweet from me.
Well, wait till you meet him, because Tom and I are thoroughly impressed, not only with just his personality. He comes with a bit of an edge, which you're going to love. He is all business. He's no nonsense. He's kind of set that in stone already for this team moving forward from the moment they had their first team meeting. But also what he's put together on the coaching staff, I think Tom will agree. He's had a chance to meet with these coaches as well. The vast range and experience from an age 69 defensive coach to a 65-year-old to a 28-year-old offensive coordinator in Declan Doyle, and not all his buddies. I mean, these are people that have different experiences, so they're drawing on all these experiences to put together something uniquely Bears, which I'm grateful for, because Tom and I have been doing this together for 29 years in some form or fashion. And so, we have a lot of experience on change. And this particular change, as you eloquently pointed out, feels different. It does, Seth. It feels different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. The hires for offensive and defensive coordinator were intriguing to me as well. And I'm really excited about, like you said, the range in the hiring. And I think, just the one that jumps off the page to me is Dennis Allen, because there's someone with tons of coaching experience, head coaching experience as well. And you have that in your back pocket. I almost feel like you don't have to worry about the defense. Dennis Allen's got that covered. And if you need anything on the back end, you need a little advice, you need a little help, you need somebody to chip in from a head coaching perspective, assistant head coach. You've got someone with a wealth of knowledge in Dennis Allen that's going to be able to help you along that ride and kind of mentor you in that way. Whereas I think, on the other end of the spectrum, Declan Doyle is someone who's going to be able to learn. He's going to be able to be eager to go above and beyond, because, he doesn't want this to be his last stop, I assume. He wants to get to the next level as well. And so he's going to do everything he can to soak in whatever knowledge he can get from all these guys. So I think you've created a pretty cool recipe. Obviously you got to see how all this works out, see how these pieces kind of vibe together. But I really like it just from a aesthetic point of view, what I'm seeing, and then what I'm hearing from guys like you who have a little bit more inside information. It feels good. You still got to go out there on Sunday and win games in the fall. That's the bottom line. But I'm very excited about the future. And I think, we throw the term culture around a lot, but anytime you're going to go out there and call out Matt LaFleur, like on your first day on the job, you got me, dog. I'm in,
Seth, when you talk about some of your oldest memories of the Chicago Bears, I was born in '61 in Joliet and been a Bears fan my whole life. And then you were born in '86, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So what, do you have some of the earliest memories of being a Bears fan that, come to you? Because there's a lot of, memories of the emergence of the Bears, in the Walter Payton era and even the eras that came before him. So what about you?
Oh, man, all my Bears memories are horrible. My earliest memories are, I got into, because I live in Iowa. I was born and raised in Iowa. And so, we do have a bit of an option as far as football fandom is concerned or sports fandom is concerned. But my grandpa was a diehard Bears fan. So, I grew up in a small town, Iowa. Every Sunday we would go to church. After church, we would go over to my grandparents' house and we would watch football games. And I remember distinctly my grandpa had this, it was like a stuffed Bears player, but it came apart at the limbs. So every time something bad happened, he could rip an arm off, he could rip a leg off, he could rip a head off and throw it at the TV without anything breaking. But yeah, I mean, I grew up watching football in the early '90s. The Bears were okay. They had some decent years there. Never made any strides really into the playoffs or anything like that. I remember the Cade McNown draft. I remember the Rashawn Salam draft. Luckily the team really turned around under Lovie Smith. Had the Super Bowl run. I got to watch Devin Hester, change the game for returners, and then the defense with Urlacher and Briggs and those guys. So that was very exciting times. When you really I got to experience a dominant special Chicago Bears defense, monsters of the Midway type defense, Peanut Tillman, causing havoc on the edge. So that was really fun to see. That was really fun to experience. But I would say the majority of my Bears fandom has been suffering, has been pain, I was born, like I said, '86. So I just missed the Super Bowl. I just missed sweetness. None of that did I get to experience firsthand. I've had to live vicariously through you guys who came before me and got to see all the good times. But I'm hoping we're on the other side of that, and the future can be bright in Chicago.
Is there any guys in your wrestling background that you can say, okay, this is the guy that captured my attention. This is the guy that kind of transitioned me into being the multi-world champ that you are? And is there anybody in your background that was a super influence in those terms?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, I've been a huge wrestling fan for as long as I've been a Bears fan. The two things were, number one and number two in my life, pretty much my entire, as long as I can remember. And when I grew up, my first guy was Hulk Hogan. He got me into it. But the guy that really kind of let me know that this was something I could do or something that I was interested in doing is Shawn Michaels. Shawn and Brett, kind of came up in the mid '90s. Wrestling was getting a little bit faster. The stars were getting a little bit smaller. And it was the first time that I saw someone who could draw a house, who could fill a stadium or an arena, who was a regular sized person, in the '80s, it was the land of giants. It was Andre, it was Hogan, it was Savage, it was Warrior. These were the guys that, brought the money in that put people in the seats. And Shawn and Brett were the first guys who were around 6 foot and, a moderate build that I was like, oh, wait, I'm not going to be Hulk Hogan size, but I certainly could be Shawn Michaels size. I certainly could be Bret Hart size. I might be able to do this. And I love Shawn. So Shawn's been my favorite wrestler probably since I was about, 10, 11 years old. And he's a guy who's inspired me and a lot of my generation, where you look at the business now, the industry now, it's so fast paced. It's unreal what the next generation of people are doing. I'm almost 40 years old, so I'm like an old hat in this thing now, which is crazy to say. Because I feel like I'm just hitting my prime. But yeah, I mean, Sean's the guy. He's the guy that really inspired me to want to do this thing.
Bears tickets go on sale Wednesday, May 14th. Mark your calendars. Also, that'll be the rollout of the NFL 2025 schedule. Any guesses, fellas, on whom the Bears will open with, where, and what day? Are we going to do a primetime opener? What are we doing?
Oh man, I don't know. I
What's
don't
the
feel
juicy matchup?
Like, what do you want, or what are they going to do?
Yeah. Okay, both. Both. Let's do both. What do you want? What do you think they'll do?
I'd like to have the most difficult home field opponent game one, whoever that is on the Bears schedule. Do you still consider Green Bay, or I don't know where the Philly game's going to be, or just
Detroit.
One of the try to get someone that's unexpected early and take advantage of them.
I mean, the Bears, are they back in Washington this
Yes,
year?
they are.
Yes.
Oh, believe me, I've already read, people are trying to figure out the best top 10 matchups this season for prime time, and that's on the list.
Okay.
Revenge, that's on the list. That's right up your alley in the wrestling world. It's a revenge matchup.
It's a revenge match. I was there live. I was in that stadium for that Hail Mary. I need to come back from that as soon as possible. That was the end of the season last year. I need to come back from that as soon as possible.
Looking up your Wikipedia bio is an effort in futility because there's so many accomplishments. It's really impressive. And the way you got started, there was a man by the name of Danny Daniels.
Danny's my trainer. Yeah.
Okay.
I trained
is this an Oak Park guy?
Yeah, Downers Grove. Story. Danny's from Downers Grove.
Okay.
I think he still actually is from Downers Grove. A little Greek guy. He's probably like 5'7". He's like as wide as he is tall. He's a great dude, though. He was a journeyman. He still promotes a small independent promotion in Chicago called AAW, which is where I got my start. He took it over. Right when he was training myself and my partner, because I own a wrestling school in Davenport, Iowa. My partner still runs the wrestling school called Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, where we teach, kind of up and coming professional wrestlers in our craft. And Danny's great, dude. He's a Chicago guy, kind of through and through. He lived there his whole life. I used to go to Chicago. We trained in like a shipping warehouse somewhere on the outskirts of the city. It was cold as hell. There was no AC. It was the winter of '04. It was brutal. And then, as wrestling goes, because it's such a weird underground thing, we got kicked out of our shipping warehouse. So we had to move to like somebody's garage. So that's where I trained. We had a space heater in the garage, but we couldn't train for too long because the fumes of the space heater would make us get high and pass out if we stayed in there running the ropes and wrestling around too long. So we would have to do like little spurts and then open the garage door and let it all air out. But I mean, it was, December in Chicago. It's brutal. So yeah, I used to travel every week to and from Chicago to train. I would go on the weekends to carry Danny's bags. If he had shows, I would help out on small shows like that. And so I have a lot of close ties to the city of Chicago. It's a place I've always considered it kind of like my second home.
Hey, Seth, so you said you're 38 years old right now. Are you going to be the next Tom Brady, where you're going to be a world champ when you're getting into your late 40s and then climbing that ladder? What do you got going mentally, and how's your body feel?
I feel really good. Our schedule has toned down drastically since 2020. Obviously, COVID shut everything down. We were still doing weekly television shows, but we stopped doing our non-televised events. And our non-televised event schedule was pretty nuts. And then we got back to it in 2021. But WWE merged with UFC over this past year. They started a new company called TKO. And TKO is really focused on making as much money as they can, which they're a business. I get that. But one of the things that they've really cut back on are non-televised events. Our non-televised events used to happen every weekend before our standard Monday Night Raw or after our Friday Night SmackDown. And that would happen every week, throughout the entire year. So I would wrestle like 200 matches a year sometimes, which was bonkers. Wouldn't recommend. Would not recommend. I look, I loved it as a young man. When you're in your 20s, guys, you do
Right.
whatever you want, right? You're invincible. You wake up the next day, nothing happened. Yeah, as the years start to go on, the injuries start to pile up. It's just, sleeping with the wrong pillow can be a 3-day injury. So it's like, I'm at my place now where I feel really good. The schedule's tightened up. I'm not falling down nearly as much as I used to. And look, the information is better now, man. Like, I firmly believe that players of past generations in whatever sport you were in, had the information been as available as it is now, you guys could have played longer too. You know what I mean? Like there could have been Tom Brady's, like Dan Marino could have been Tom Brady. It could have happened if the information was available. Tom is just taking advantage of every little bit of information that is out there, every data point that he can find, and he figured out a way to beat time back a little bit. And I feel that way as well as wrestlers. You look at what we're able to do, and we're able to do it better, longer, men and women. And so I very much feel like I got about 4 or 5 years left on this current contract. I feel like I could do it into my mid 40s, and we'll see what happens. But I feel very good.
Hey, Bears fans, Steinhafels, a proud partner of the Chicago Bears, and now open in Orland Park. Steinhafels is Chicagoland's furniture and mattress leader with the largest selection to fit every style and budget, and is 100% employee-owned. Shop in-store and online at steinhafels.com. So what's more impressive? I'll have both of these professional athletes tell me, because I've never dipped into that pond, right? Tom played 44 games in one calendar year playing USFL, training camp with Ditka, double days, and it was brutal, full pads. Then his first year was the Super Bowl team. So he won the Super Bowl in his first year with the Bears, or your 200 nights of wrestling. I'll let the two pros tell me who wins that matchup.
44 games in a year.
How about that, Seth?
On top of like practice and mini camp, training camp, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, let me quote the great Seth freaking Rollins. In your 20s, it's all easy. You get up the next day and go to work. So
when I heard it, right?
Of course, man. Here I am going from playing in the USFL out in Arizona to coming back to my hometown and having an opportunity to try out with the 1984 NFC Championship. They got beat by San Francisco with their sights set on the Super Bowl. So, that'd be. I don't know how to analogize in wrestling, but taking you in your 10th match and plugging you into, Battle Royale.
That's amazing. I mean, look, there's not the unpredictability of that to me is in why you stayed healthy that whole time. No, nothing, no injuries. No, that to me, that is wildly impressive. I mean, look, we take a beating because we fall down every night, but there's control, right? So if I have an injury, my opponent will work around it. Whereas your opponent wants to go right for that injury. They want to hurt you. They want to do everything they can to get you off the field. So I will take back seat to that. No doubt. That is a hell of a feat. You should be proud of that. That is amazing.
I do think there's a lot of similarities in our job, in the anticipation of how you're going to get hit, how you're going to fall down, what your landing spot is going to be, how you're going to make contact with this person in front of me, and then how you're going to maneuver through. I do think there's a lot of anticipation in both of our jobs, that you kind of have that feeling of how it's going to happen and then what to do into how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, preparation and repetition are huge, right? You do that a million times, and everything kind of starts to slow down for you. And you, like you said, you can anticipate a little bit better. And so you can take care of yourself a little bit better. You can do your job a little bit better. When you watch somebody do something like play a different sport for the first time, the speed of it blows your mind, right? The speed of what happens when the ball snaps is insane to me. But once you're in it, it slows down a little bit, and you start to be able to really focus, like you said, on that anticipation and those reps and that practice that really gets you in a position. So I agree, there is a lot of similarity there, but there's just an element of unpredictability that you guys have because it's real competition that I think I'll give it an edge, man. That's I tip my cap to that.
The mental challenge each and every week, because your body, I don't care if you're in your 20s, you're getting beat up. Your body feels it, right? Tom always says about fatigue, it makes cowards of us all, right? Waiting for you on the sideline in the film room. So, which leads us to this. Are aches, pains, or injuries keeping you on the sidelines? Well, Athletico's movement experts are here to help you turn your setbacks into comebacks and create a personalized game plan for your recovery with no prescription or referral needed. Athletico Physical Therapy is where your comeback story begins. Athletico, proud to be the official physical therapy partner of the Chicago Bears. So you must have Matt Forte, the great Matt Forte, later on in his career. This is the definition of professionalism, and this applies to both of you. Really decided, you know what, I got to figure out a better way to take care of my body. So that was a full-time commitment on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after games to get ready again on Friday, Saturday, and play on Sunday. How much time do you spend on body maintenance, Seth?
Oh wow. I mean, everything's just changed. The paradigm is just shifted. The way I train is just so much different now than the way I did, 5, 10 years ago. Taking time to get massage, get chiropractic, get the body work done. I, I think it's more of an as needed thing for me. So I don't have like I spend $1 million a year on this or, this many hours a week. I have people that I trust to take care of the injuries or, whatever I need, the soreness, the aches. And I have a system. And then, getting my diet right, I think is a big thing, making sure that, the inflammation levels are low, and so that I can continue to kind of do what I need to do on a daily basis. But I think it's just prioritizing that stuff. We talked about when we were younger, I just didn't, I was like, whatever, I just didn't care, I just would do it. It was a little bit of a sickness, a little bit of masochism, a little bit of sadism. I just like the pain. I like the suffering. I couldn't wait to do more of it. And then I think at some point I just got sick of that. Maybe that fatigue did make a coward of me and I just got over it. I'm not ashamed to admit I became a bit of a coward in that regard. So yeah, it's how I manage my time now. It's what I do to maintain as opposed to, just going 100% foot on the gas the whole time. And look, I got a family now. I got a daughter. And so I gotta manage my time a little bit better and I want to feel better at home. Like I can't just lay in bed all day. I got to get up and be dad and enjoy that process and be that for her. So
your wife's a wrestler too, famous wrestler. So
she is the greatest of all time, Becky Lynch. You can't beat it, man. So yeah, we both got to be up and at 'em for a little 4.5-year-old because she runs the house. That's for sure.
Seth, I one more question for me. So if I was sitting in front of a group of high school football players and they said, what are 5 things that you want to tell us that you need to do if you are inspired to be a professional football player? If now Seth is sitting in front of high school kids they are inspired or their aspiration is to be a professional wrestler, what are the top 3 things that you would tell them to get prepared for, be prepared for, and, to get ready?
Oh man. So, I think the first one is be prepared to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. Whatever idea you have of hard work, you're about to change that exponentially, because every time you think you're the hardest worker in the room, you're going to step into another room and somebody's going to be working harder and you've got to be able to match that and beat that. Secondly, I think sacrifice is one of the things that I don't think people really understand about what it takes to be great at, and I mean personal sacrifice. You will need to dedicate a lot of time to being great, and you will sacrifice personal relationships. You will sacrifice a lot of what you want to do for what you have to do. And then, it's the cliche. I'm going to give you 4 things. The third one, the cliche is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So understand the scope of time that it's going to take for you to get from zero to mastery. It takes many, many, many failures and screw ups and bad decisions to learn from all of that to be better. And the last one is, and I'm a very goal oriented person. It took me a long time to learn this, and in some ways, it was a double edged sword for me. But the big thing was the journey is the ride. Like that's the accomplishment is the journey and taking joy in that journey. Because when you reach the pinnacle, all you're going to ask yourself, if you are a truly great performer or a great athlete, is what's next. You'll take 2 seconds to revel in that achievement, and you will ask yourself what's next. And to keep doing that is a fool's game. Once you learn to enjoy the process and reap in the rewards of what the journey is for you, you'll be able to find a lot more happiness, I think, on a day-to-day basis. And those would be the things.
No, that's great advice.
That I would tell the kids. That I will tell the kids after I'm done with you guys. I'm going to school right now. We have our first day for the new incoming class, and I'm going to go put them through the ringer. And I'm gonna channel my best coach Ditka.
There you go.
Make sure they're ready to go. Pads will not be on today, but they're still going to do some suffering.
Ditka had this saying, and he called it ACE, ACE, attitude, character, enthusiasm. And if you don't have that, you cannot be successful in whatever your way of life is going to be.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah. And I totally agree. It's a selfish pursuit to be great.
Yeah,
it is. And, there's some littered stories along the side of the road in that regard. But yeah, you have to. If you want to be whatever your definition of great is, and it to me is an unattainable level, you have to make those sacrifices, and that's probably the best advice that I'm taking from you right here and now is that enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, because I think sometimes you lose sight of that. Like you walk into a stadium, I don't take it for granted. I haven't taken it for granted for any of the games I've called, and I'm sure Tom feels the same way. But sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses a little bit, and you just got to enjoy that ride. I think that's great advice. We're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. All right, we're going to wrap you up. A couple quick hitters. You're Seth Rollins. It's not your given birth name. You've had a lot of names. Who decides the names? And one day you're one name, and now they're going to give you another. Or do you have a say?
I had a little bit of say. My name, Seth Rollins, was given to me, bestowed upon me. I made a list. I made like 2 lists, first names and last names, when I first got hired by WWE, right? They want to own your brand. They want to be partners in owning your brand. So, look, when I was on the independents wrestling before WWE, I was Tyler Black. I decided that all by myself. When I got to WWE, they wanted to own, like I said, own the brand. So I made 2 lists. And the late, great American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, was the one who gave me my name. Seth Rollins, baby. He had a lisp. If you don't know Dusty, he had a lisp. He's a Southern boy with a lisp. And he said, I see it on the marquee now. I see it. It's Seth Rollins, baby. Main event of WrestleMania. I love it. I love it, baby.
Who would be the most notable, maybe, person on your cell phone you could dial up right now?
Oh, probably The Rock. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson's a pretty big game in Hollywood. He'd be number one, I'd say. just sent him a birthday message the other day, and he's a good cat. He's been wonderful to myself as a mentor, but also as a good friend to my family.
And I see you got a Pearl Jam poster in the background as we're looking at you. We're both huge Pearl Jam fans, big Eddie Vedder fans, one of Tom's good buddies. So could you dial up Eddie at any time?
I couldn't. That's the one. My wife loves Pearl Jam. They're her favorite band. And one of these days, I'm gonna get Eddie on the line for her. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, he's elusive, man. He's tricky. Chicago guy though. Big Cubs fan.
Oh, yeah. We love him. Seth, can't tell you. So much thanks for doing this. Appreciate your time is valuable, and keep rooting hard for those Bears. And I think we're all pretty optimistic. The forecast looks good. We won't get any predictions right now. Schedule's not even out, but you'll be rooting hard. We appreciate it, man.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really look forward to doing this more throughout the season. So thank you guys again, and go Bears.
Big fans of yours, Seth. Thank you and congratulations and good luck. And let's keep moving forward.
Thank you,
Good news,
boys.
Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears and you too. For Seth Rollins, Big Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now to the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And send us out, Seth.
Thank you, boys. Burn it down.
Bear down.